Thank you, Zimbabwe, for tuning in to yet another informative edition of your program. This is Agricultural New Directions, Agribusiness, and my name is Wadzanai Manyore. Today we are having a field day in terms of sustainability in the tobacco industry as we pave way towards achieving Vision 2030 as a country. We are here in Macheke, where Macheke farmers are going to be converging. We are talking of the small-scale farmers, those that contribute immensely to the production of tobacco here in Zimbabwe. We are going to be looking of establishment of food lots and the advantages and the merits that come with establishing gum tree plots for our curing purposes in the tobacco industry. Stay tuned.
Farmers Union yatakafoma patakatora minda kuti tisarasike, kuti tisatyisidzirwe, kuti tizvigone. Tiri kumiririra zvido zvewarimi ngazviuye, isu tinoziva kwezvinofanira kuenda. Sechiitiko chanhasi ndanga ndichishuwira zvemusingafi makanzwisisa pandakamboita chairman weTIMB, ndo patakawamba afforestation. Takagara pasi kuti togadzirisa sei nyaya yekutemwa kwemiti, ndo patagara pasi, ndo kubva tauya neboard, ndo kubva tauya neafforestation levy yamuri kubatirwa pemunotengesa fodya, yozoendeswa kuforestry commission kuti wasime miti, bati muri kubvisa mari yekuti musime miti. Ndiripa ndo panondipa shungu yekuti afforestation inofanira kunge iri pamurimi wega wega. Kana uchirima fodya, tinofanira kuona gum tree pamunda pako. Kana usina gum tree, stop. Nyika inowakwa nemwene wayo. Moda kuti tuudzwe zvakadii zvinhu zviri pachena kudai. Miruko muri kukuona kuti mai avo vane juzu dzvuku, inyika yekwani yakadaro. Hatisimei miti. Anenge asina kusima miti, TIMB, stop registering them. Hawana tsitsi, hawanzwisisi. Wana tiri kuwasira chii? Magwenga. Aiwa, hatiiti izvozvo. Wambaiwa wangobata-bata kukosha kwemiti, kuti mushizha regreen hero ikicheni inobikwa zvakawanda, inonzi photosynthesis. Ini ndakafunda botany pauniversity a good 3 years. Ndafara kunzwa wari kuti ate wangoti sunyei ndobva wasiya. Pamusha wega wega ndichitanga kusvika nditarisi dhanduru renyu nekitchen nehosi, ndotanga kutarisa kuti pane michero here. Ndo chinhu chandinotanga kuona. Musha tinogara sei mwana asingazivi kuti habhurosi inodyiwa, magwavha, malemoni, maorenji, zvisi zvinodyiwa. Kungosimawo wana wakure wachizviziva. Tiri kutadza nei? Tiri kuda mweya wekufema. Iwo mashizha ataurwa, kitchen iya yataurwa, ndo inotipa oxygen, mweya wetiri kufema. Ukaita mushoma kuhospitari, munhu anotoiswa pasilinda yekuti awane mweya wekufema. Isiri kuuwana mahara, uri kubva mumashizha. So miti yakakosha, inotipa izvozvi zvekudya, inotipa mweya wekufema. Iwo uchishandisa carbon dioxide yatisingadi kuti ibikwe imo mukitchen imomo. Isubject inofadza but inotipa upenyu. Tinofanira kunge tichinzwisisa. Todzoka kune wefodya. Zvechokwadi hatidyarei miti. Ini tiri kuti tawanda muti umwe chete is good enough. Dyarai hatisi kuti taima hekitaya kana usina nzvimbo yacho. Kwete. Dyarai 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inenge yakwana iyoyo dyara. Ndozvinopangidza kuti unonzwisisa. Hatidi nhubu mucrop yefodya. Tinorima fodya iri number 1 pasi pese. Ndakafamba Brazil, China, you name it. Tiri pa number 1 neflavor inobuda munyika yedu nekuti hatina chando, hatina ma extreme temperatures, tine ideal situation yatakapuwa naMwari. Yatakapuwa nani? naMwari. Saka wakuru wedu vachikurudzira kuti nyika inomboakwa newene wayo. Achikurudzira ndafarira iyo yekuti muri kubatana semagroups. Hanzi chako wega chizviya mukondo wesadza. Saka ndozvauruda kuita. Itawo munhu anobatana newamwe moita chinhu chenyu muarea. Ndinotenda chaizvo nekubuda kwamaita nekuti wadzidzisi wakauya imi mukasabuda hapana chawaita. Ende kudada ndokudada manje. Budai chero ari kuuya neruzivo kwamuri. Budai mutsigire muteererwe. Munzwe zvese isu weunion kana muine zvimwe zvemunoda kuti zviende kuministry. Ofisi yedu iriko kushowground. Munoenda ikoko, you must be a registered member. Unoitawo zvemembership. Nekuti kana ndaakutaura kana taakutaura minister anobvunza kuti nai maichina masa iwo membership yenyu yakamira sei. Zvinondobva tati ini nemurume wangu tiri vairi hazviiti izvi. Tinoda kuti munge muripo tichitaura takamirira ruzhinji kunyanya maprices ezvirimwa. Maprices iwaya efodya kana musi kugutsikana nawo ndozvatakamirira. Toenda nazvo kuTIMB tondovaudza kuti gadzirisai nyaya. Tine passion for tobacco nekuti tinogona kuirima ende minda taanayo hatirimei zvine mukurumbira mazviita henyu.
Thank you, Zimbabwe, for staying tuned to Agricultural New Directions in support of Vision 2030. At this point in time, I've taken the liberty of inviting Sheila Baureni. She is a sustainability officer at the Tobacco Industry and Marketing Board right here in Zimbabwe. They are the ones who managed to facilitate and organized the field day for farmers to converge and learn through observation about sustainability in the tobacco industry. Sheila, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Wadza. Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Sure.
As the cause of sustainability, as we can see, the current trends at the moment are growing louder. We are now hearing the regulatory authority speaking with a stronger voice in terms of farmers to partake in sustainability issues. What do you intend to achieve? Why those calls now?
Yeah, good question, Wadza. The truth is there's no other way out other than to become sustainable, especially when it comes to production of tobacco. For a long time, we've been producing tobacco unsustainably. By that, I mean we've been growing tobacco, cutting down trees without replacing them. We've not been observing what should be done and what should not be done when it comes to social aspects of sustainability. As you rightfully said, calls are coming from all angles, especially the international market. You know very well that the bulk of the tobacco that is produced in Zimbabwe is for exports. So when we want to meet the global standards or the expectations of the market, we really have to move to sustainable ways of producing tobacco.
Okay.
So your question, what we want to achieve, our target is by the year 2030, if we are to increase production, if we are to get to the projected 230 million, that tobacco should be produced in a sustainable way way. By producing tobacco in a sustainable way, we mean producing with a future generation in mind.
Yes.
When a farmer cuts down a tree, that tree needs to be
Replaced.
A woodlot should be found at every farmer's household. Every tobacco farm should be followed or accompanied with a woodlot. So we are towards a sustainable tobacco industry.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you so much, Sheila. You would find that in the farming community, before we are farmers, we are stewards of the environment.
Yes.
We need to live in harmony with the environment,
Yeah.
because that same environment is the one that makes it possible for us to make profits out of it.
True.
However, it comes a period whereby you would find that at times sustainability and viability
Yeah.
can either work hand in glove or clash.
Yeah.
Because you'd be saying, how can I maximize on my land if I'm supposed to be a good steward of it?
Yeah.
But that might lead to depletion of resources or exhaustion of trees.
Yeah.
So in terms of viability, Sheila,
Yeah.
can you maybe talk to our audience there, home, our farming community?
Yeah.
How can they remain viable
Yeah.
and ensure the return per dollar invested in this tobacco industry?
Oh, yeah.
There's now the introduction of farmers being told to invest in woodlots.
Yeah.
So how do they remain viable?
Viable, yes, viability issues are really important when it comes to any business, not only tobacco business. Now looking at our farmers, the smallholder farmers, if you check our payoff line, you are aware that we recently rebranded as an organization, and we are saying for sustainability for livelihoods, meaning that we are also concerned about viability issues. We want to see the smallholder grower becoming viable in his or her business of producing tobacco. So the best way they can do, we now have a department, business development. We are looking at alternatives to tobacco, not necessarily something that is going to replace tobacco, no,
Okay.
but something that can then improve viability. Not only focusing, if you check a year, it has about 3 seasons. If cropping seasons, you can do 3 crops in a season.
Yes.
If you really want to.
Yes.
So we are saying to the smallholder growers, this is the time to diversify. This is the time to make use of all the seasons. In winter, do winter crops.
Yes.
In the rain season, do those crops that can be done during the summertime.
Okay.
So diversification, and also investing in trees other than not only eucalyptus but fruit trees.
Okay.
They can go the route of establishing orchards, establishing those trees that can, fruit trees that can make money out of it, that
Yes.
they can make money out of it. So other than relying on tobacco only for the whole year round, we are saying this is the time to diversify. So, and also the other issue I need to talk about, as regulator of the tobacco industry, we are working, we are through the parent ministry, the Ministry of Agriculture, the tobacco value chain transformation strategy.
Yes.
One of the pillars is to that of localization of funding to fund tobacco production. Yes, if that is done, it's going to take the smallholder farmers a long way. That means that they're going to be accessing inputs that are a little bit cheaper. And if they get access to those inputs that are a bit affordable, obviously they will increase on their profits, the return per dollar invested.
Yes.
So yeah, basically diversification, access to funding, which is a little bit cheaper, and also not only diversifying into horticultural crops, fruit trees, and other agronomic crops
Yes.
that can add value to their entity.
Thank you
Yes.
so much, Sheila. You are the effect of diversification. It cannot be overemphasized,
Yeah.
because we are talking of spreading your risk as a farmer,
Yes.
having different sources of income
Yeah.
per household.
Yes.
You would find that sometimes when the tobacco season, marketing season is over,
Yeah.
farmers become beggars. They don't
Yeah.
know where to turn to or how to sustain their livelihoods, how to take their kids to school, how to maintain their healthcare systems, and so on. Moving right along, Sheila, as we round off this segment, when you arrange or organize events like this ones, what is your intended purpose
Yeah.
when you ask farmers to come and gather? Because you would find that in Zimbabwe, some might say, kusima muti pane chashamisa here ipapo. And yet organizations are parting with money. They are investing in allowing farmers to have a platform where they can interact and learn.
Yeah.
What is your intended purpose when it comes to organizing field days?
Our main aim is for farmers to learn. we need to educate them.
Yes.
If you checked, today's attendance was really good.
Yes.
And I was really impressed by the way the farmers are accepting these platforms, their response to invitation. They really came in their numbers. And by so doing, we are exchanging knowledge.
Yes.
It's a knowledge exchange platform. We invite other stakeholders that are also in afforestation initiatives.
Yes.
And that's the platform for us to educate growers. Now we are preaching the gospel of sustainability. Everyone is coming on board and teaching farmers, teaching other stakeholders, that collaborated effort whereby we are exchanging ideas, we are exchanging knowledge, we are teaching them the new expectations of the international. It's an awareness platform as well.
Yes.
Not only educating, but also to make them aware of what is expected of them as growers.
Okay.
And also for them to give us their issues. If they have anything, their expectations from us as regulators, as players in the tobacco industry. Definitely, grower is one important stakeholder.
Yes.
They also have their grievances. They have issues that they need us to address as a regulator. So that platform actually gives them a time to, to express and to ask whatever that will be. That they need clarity from us.
Okay, thank you so much, Sheila. There you heard it, viewers. This is Sheila Baureni, a sustainability officer. She was telling us here that it's not always about learning, but it is a platform where you can exchange and interact. You can also share your sentiments or even your grievances, what you expect to be done in the industry. Did I mention they have free food and beverages that you can take advantage of and interact with your fellow farmers? On that note, we are going to go on a short commercial break. We'll be right back with this and more in the second segment. Stay tuned. Today we are here in Macheke at a field day that has been organized for our small-scale tobacco farmers in Macheke to look at sustainability more directly and consider it so that we maintain sustainability in tobacco production here in Zimbabwe. Now, viewers, we encourage you to be a part of these conversations. Feel free to get in touch with the producer Watsapp Manyore on 0772 807 506. Alternatively, you can like our Facebook page, Agribusiness with Watsanai. We are also now available on Twitter, and our Twitter handle there is at Agribusiness110. Leave your comments and suggestions on our YouTube channel. They are very welcome and important to us. Our YouTube channel is Agribusiness with Watsanai. Stay tuned. Thank you, Zimbabwe, for staying tuned to Agricultural New Directions, Agribusiness. Paris zvino ndine varimi murimi varidzi vepurazi rino paitwa field day pasangana varimi kutaura nyaya dzekudyarwa kwemiti vanonzi ivo vakezitoka tsande vari pano paplot number 36 mumacheke pavari kuita mabasa avo ekurima fodya pamwe chete nekuita zvekurima miti inozoshandiswa pakupisa kana kuita curing kufodya. Vakatsande ndinokuchingamidzai pachirongwa.
Aiwa, tinotenda.
Tichipinda muchirongwa chedu munhaurirano yedu vakatsande ndingada titange titaure nezvematanho amakatora semurimi wefodya kusvika pakugadzira munda wemiti yakadai izvi. Makazvifambisa sei kubva pakugadzira ivhu racho yatoti land preparation kusvika pakuwana mbeu yacho nekuidyara, uye unyanzvi hupi hwamaishandisa kuti mukwanise kuita magama aroratidza kuti ane hutano kudai?
Chirongwa chekudyarwa kwemiti takagara uchifarira kuti hatiri mufodya tisina huni dzokuti dzinotikwanira kuti tipise fodya. Saka patakazoona maforesters edu vanatawanda ndo vakazotiigira shoko rokuti tinogona kupinda mupurogiramu yekurima miti. Ndokubva tachifarira, ndokubva tataura nawo kuti wagozouya wachitipa ruzivo kuti tingazvifambisa sei. Pawakauya wakatidzidzisa kuti zvitirerukiye tinofanira kuita magroups anova ndo atakaita. Wakutidzidzisa tichichera makomba, tapedza kuchera makomba wozotiikira mbeu dzacho nemafertilizers nemachemicals maherbicides adikana, ndokubva tasima miti yedu. Wachitibatsira kubva ipapo kusvikana nhasi uno timuone yakanaka zvakadai. Idzidziso yavo maforesters vanatawanda vesazi TIMP.
Vakizito, tiri kuona kuti imimi muri murimi wefodya aane makore achirima fodya. Zvimwe zvamakabatsirika nazvo pakunge muine miti yenyu yakaita seinoyi kuchengetedza, ndikuona makachena, hamuna sora, mabasa amaibata kusvika akura zvakadai izvi. Iye panyaya dzemadiridziro munomirira kudenga here kana kuti muri kudiridzira nebhoho kana muri kuzvifambisa sei?
Patakasima miti yedu sekuona kwamuri kuita kuti haina nguva yakareba. Takaisima rain season changotanga ndobva taisima late December. Kubva ipapo patakangoisima aiwa iri kuita zvakanaka. Chatangotarisana nacho ndocheweeding yekuti tibvise masora anenge arimo sekuona kwamuri kuita ikoko. Sekudzidzisa kwatakaita kuti tikangobvisa masora iwaya nekurimira imomo zvinochengetedza mwando zvokuti miti yedu inokura zvakanaka.
Mukupeta nhaurirano yedu izvo zvakanakirei kuti murimi wefodya awanike pamunda pake kana pamba pake achisawo plot kana kamunda kemiti? Zvakanakirawo chii? Kurudziro yenyu kuvarimi vangadaro vamwe vari kukaroi vamwe vari kuna Mount Darwin, zvakanakire kuti murimi weZimbabwe muZimbabwe small scale farmer awanike achiitawo kamunda kemiti? Zvakanakira chii?
Zvakanakira ndechekuti Zimbabwe inorarama neforex kazhinji ndiyo yanefodya. Saka kuti tigone kuramba tiri muindustry yefodya tinofanira kuramba tiine miti. Tikaramba tichiparadza tisingaiwandudze tichamira kurimwa kwefodya nyika yedu yodzikira pasi. Saka zvakanakira kuti murimi wega wega wefodya dai waro aita plot yake yemiti kuti nyika yedu irambe ichisimuka, irambe ichirimwa fodya, irambe ichiwana forex. Nokuti kana tisina miti yacho ticharega kurima fodya. Ndizvo zvakaita kuti tizofunge kuti hatipindei mumiti macho tirege kumira kurima fodya, nyika yedu irambe ichienda mberi.
Tinotenda zvikuru Wakatsande nekuya pachirongwa maita basa.
Aiwa, tinotenda mazita enyu.
At this point in time, I am joined by a forester, Tawanda Muchena, who's working with farmers here hand in glove in Macheke area, where he's helping farmers establish woodlots. Some might say gum tree plantations. Tawanda, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
As we get into our discussion, Tawanda, as our technical support here on this platform, can we talk about the chemicals or the prerequisites that are required for a farmer to establish a plantation, starting from site selection, the chemicals? Do you require any fertilizers? What is the process like?
All right. First of all, on site selection, when the farmer is interested in joining the project, we assess the area. There are some sites that we don't plant, for example, wetlands or woody areas. For example, those with a lot of msasa or mnondo trees, we don't plant those because we want to protect the environment and our indigenous trees. So, fairly, we want a clear area with less disturbing to do. And also, we don't plant areas with a rock outcrop underneath because the trees will eventually die when they reach the rock outcrop. Then in terms of chemicals, the first chemical that we use when we establish this is glyphosate. Before we plant, we use glyphosate to kill off the weeds because we want to reduce the competition so that our trees grow. Then the second chemical we use just after planting, we use fipronil for termicide. In other words, termites or mjuru. Yes, we use fipronil. Then next, after that, we continue to assess for various diseases. For example, we have got leptospira inversa or Glycapsis brimbocombei. Once we notice those, we've got some chemicals that we use to control those. Our plantations, we apply a special compound fertilizer, it's compound F, to help the trees grow fast because our mission is to grow the trees as quick as possible. So we need the fertilizer to help us achieve that. I think basically in terms of chemicals, that's basically it. Some of them just depend with the diseases. Then we apply the relevant chemical.
Okay, now Tawanda, there is a misconception or a school of thought amongst farmers whereby they say the eucalyptus or the gum tree is a very greedy crop. If you plant it in your plot, it will exhaust all your water reserves. Rinosveta mvura mona madhema musina magama hase kudyara. Your sentiments or your word of advice to our farming community in terms of that?
Well, that general sentiment is there out there, but it's not true. Gum trees, they are just like any other tree. Because if it was true that they drain the trees, I'm sure by now we wouldn't have any water reserves left. Because if you look at the farms from long back, there are actually some gum trees that you can see. Some of them are no longer being taken care of, they are dying out, but they've always been there. We are just encouraging farmers to plant more.
Okay. When it comes to gum trees, what is general maintenance like, season in, season out? What does the farmer need to do to ensure that his plot is well taken care of?
All right. The most important thing is weeding. Weeding helps the trees to grow. Also, it has a huge effect on the fires. the main thing that's destroying the forests that have been there, that were established a long time ago, are fires. So we need to make sure our plantations are clean in terms of weeds. We can plow using cattle or tractors, whichever way, to ensure we don't have any weeds in the compartments. Then we also put fire guards. We establish fire guards around our plantations each and every year.
Okay.
Yes. And then on top of that, we've got during the fire season, after we put our fire guards, the farmers or other teams, we've got standby firefighters who help to fight the fires in case we have an outbreak of fire.
Thank you so much, Tawanda. It was a pleasure having you with us today.
Thank you.
There you heard it, viewers. This was Tawanda Mchana, a forester working hand in gloves with farmers here in Macheke in terms of establishing woodlots that will later on be used to cure our tobacco. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Zimbabwe, for staying tuned to Agricultural New Directions, Agribusiness. At this point in time, I have taken the liberty of inviting Amai Chinamasa. She is the president of the Zimbabwe National Farmers Union, right here in Zimbabwe, where they work together with farmers and construct synergies so that we pave way towards achieving Vision 2030 as a country. Today, we are going to be talking of sustainability in tobacco production and even marketing. Amai Chinamasa, ndinokuchingamidza ipachirongwa.
Tinotenda skuru maita henyu.
As we get into our discussion, I understand that the calls about sustainability are getting louder as we progress in our tobacco production systems here in Zimbabwe. In the past, we didn't really talk of sustainability that much. Why the calls at this moment currently?
Number one, which should be very clear, there are more growers now than before.
Yes.
We were not on the scene.
Yes.
Now we are on the scene and there are many of us. So we are cutting trees to cure our tobacco.
Very true.
So as we were given pieces of land and we went into tobacco, that program, afforestation, should have started.
Yes.
To encourage people to grow gum trees.
Okay.
Yeah. So what we are doing is to go all out, involve everyone. In my thinking, everyone who grows tobacco should have a woodlot.
Yes.
They should have a woodlot. If they don't, they are stealing wood from other growers.
Very true,
which should be discouraged.
Yes.
In our country.
Yes, I understand that when we talk of sustainability is a huge term. It also encompasses viability in tobacco production. As a country, ever since the fast-track land reform program, most of farmers came in and started to participate in tobacco production. Your sentiments in terms of smallholder farmers participating in tobacco production, looking at viability, what are you seeing? What has been the trends like?
I am not very happy with the way it's moving.
Yes.
They need a lot of support.
Very true.
They were not in this industry at all. From identifying land to grow the tobacco.
Yes.
Building barns. All that requires money.
Very true.
And we went to as far as support. Not all contractors go out to support small hectares.
Yes.
They want 20 hectares and above.
Very true.
So these ones are left behind. So when I was there, we started the TICS program. We were trying to help the vulnerable.
Yes, the small-scale farmers.
The small-scale.
Speaking of field days, Chinamasa, you've been telling me here that you've been in the industry since maybe 2002.
Yes.
But with you being established like that, you still find time to attend events like this one. Now, to our fellow women out there who are looking to get into tobacco production, what is your word of advice, your recommendation in terms of attending events like these ones?
Exactly. You never grow big on your own.
Yes.
You need to work with others. You share what you have, you learn what they have. That is my motto.
Yes.
I learn something, good or bad, but I learn something. Then I teach them what I think is best for them. So go out there, like I said, form groups.
Yes.
Work in groups. no helper will come to address one person, but if you're a group,
it becomes easier. Yes.
So I encourage them to form groups, then resource persons can come out and assist them in whatever way they want.
Okay. Thank you so much, Maichi Namasa. It was a pleasure having you with us today.
Thank you very much.
There you heard it, viewers. We were having a field day here in Macheke, where we're talking of issues surrounding sustainability in tobacco production. We also touched on viability. Is it profitable? Do you get the return per dollar invested when you get into tobacco production? Thank you, Zimbabwe, for staying tuned. From me, your host, Watsanai Manyore. I'm also on Instagram. It's W Manyore. And the crew behind the scenes. Have yourselves a fabulous evening. Thank you for watching.